Okay, good. Hi, welcome to the news episode of Sports Talk Central. My name is Adeep Mahmood. I'm here with my normal co-host Hunter, and today we'll be talking a little bit about some baseball, football, and some Virginia Tech news. So let's first start with the not this one. This one Orioles and Nationals recap. What were your thoughts with the Orioles and Nationals?
There's really no pitching in those matchups, especially the Nats came back from 6-1 down in one of them. It was a nice series for them. They don't really sweep the Orioles hardly ever. Can you stop, honey? Just the dog here. But they don't really sweep the Orioles hardly ever. I think it's one of the first times they've swept them in quite a few years. I think. I think Corbin got lit up, I think, in one of the starts. I think Corbin and Lester, I think. But also, Matt Harvey got lit up on one of the other starts too, which is, not unexpected. But there's a whole lot of offense in this series. I was definitely surprised by that, especially with the Nationals, because the Nats offense has not been really too hot coming in. But, I guess when you play a similar team that's kind of in last place, it can, come out a little bit. The bullpen, I thought, did an all right job as well. It was just good to finally get a series win, get a few wins in a row, get closer to 500. I know after that they lost a game to the Reds, and then they beat them in a first game of the doubleheader. I'm not really sure if they won the last game. I just have not been paying as much attention. But there's still only a few games out of first. They're probably going to stay that way until someone starts to take away from it. Josh Bell started to heat up a little bit, which is nice. I think he's batting upwards of 230 now. He was like 180, 190 at the time of the series. So it's been good to see him really step it up. And just overall on the lineup, I thought really hit well in that series. What were your thoughts on it overall?
Let me put it this way: the Orioles have lost 10 straight, so nothing.
Yeah, pretty bad.
Yeah, but the pitching hasn't been great. The bullpen hasn't been great. They have not been they've been ice cold with runners in scoring position, and which has been disappointing. But it's not a good team. I don't like Chance Sisco. I think that I don't know why he's on team. Severino, I don't like his pitch framing. I get why fans want Adley Rutschman, because I know he's a number 2 prospect, but the Orioles aren't going to win this year. They have the 5th pick this year. They're more than likely going to have a top 3 pick next year. So why waste a year of Adley Rutschman if you know he's going to be a part of your future just to get a few more wins here? So I get why fans are frustrated. I get why I think people say, well, Gunnar Henderson has been doing a really good job in low A ball, bring him up. I've seen fans get to that point where it's like a 19-year-old shortstop is doing great in low A. Let's skip high A, double A, and triple A and bring him to the majors. That's what they're saying. And there's some pitching prospects like Grayson Rodriguez and D.L. Hall. They want those guys caught up. Michael Elias did do an interview, said, look, I don't like the losing, but we have to be patient, and I think he doesn't want to rush these guys he doesn't want to rush these guys. But the point I really want to make here as the Orioles is obviously the players at the major league level have to get better, but fans have to get this in perspective. When all rebuilds are different from each other, when the Red Sox rebuild, it's not going to be what the Orioles do. What the Marlins, So the Orioles, when Michael Elias was hired, I'm not kidding. They were probably Ryan Mountcastle, number 1 overall pick, DL Hall, who just had his first professional season at that point, and Grayson Rodriguez, who was drafted a few months before, from having absolutely nothing for Michael Elias to work with. So, because the international presence wasn't there, the analytics wasn't there, the pitching development wasn't there, the prospect development wasn't there, trading wasn't there, the minor league system was bottom 5. So, does that sound like a team that can win for about 10 years? If all of those are if all are missing, the way I look at it is how you have those home improvement channels and you have fixer uppers and stuff like that, and they try to fix these houses.
Yeah.
So the Orioles, to me, they're like that one house, it's like one of those impossible challenges. Here's a house that has absolutely nothing working for it so far. If you can fix that up within a short amount of time, it's great. That's kind of where I view the Orioles at. And I think people say, well, look at the Marlins. They made the playoffs. Well, that was a 60-game season, so we don't know if it was a full season, if they would have done that. Or look at some of these teams that are rebuilding faster. But my point would be, Michael Elias wasn't given the tools that some of these other general managers would have. Like he had to rebuild this organization brick by brick, and I think what he's done a very good job of is the international presence is a lot higher. They just opened up the plans to build like a $2 million facility in the Dominican Republic to help house some of their international guys. They just got their two first guys at international for like one over 7 figure signing bonus. The drafting has been great. With like 2019, if you look at the first four picks, like Adley Rutschman, Double A, number top 5 prospect in baseball. Gunnar Henderson, right now is the 97th best prospect in baseball, and you have guys like Jim Callis saying this guy could be top 50. Like this guy could be top 50. Third round, Kyle Sowers. He's a guy that not a lot of people know about, but because he's overshadowed by the two guys they picked in front, but he could be a solid contributor in a few years. And then Joey Ortiz, a good defensive shortstop. So all these guys have played well. And then you look at 2020. I mean, unfortunately, Heston Kjerstad had the same thing Eduardo Rodriguez had, the myocarditis or something like that. So unfortunately, he's doing light baseball activities. Then you have Jordan Westberg, who's actually been playing really well. He was a college shortstop from Mississippi State. He's in low A. He might go to high A soon. So, and then Hudson Haskins has been playing well. Anthony Servideo has played really well. So these guys have prospects that are playing really well, and that's kind of where the good story is here. And then just today they announced that Grayson Rodriguez, he actually moved up to Double A now. So like this is a guy that his last start his last start was yesterday. He had 5 innings, 9 strikeouts, like one walk. No, I think it was like 1 walk, 1 hit, 1 run. But other than that, 9 strikeouts in 5 innings. That's pretty good. Like if you can average that on a consistent basis, that's pretty good. And this guy, his strikeout per 9 this year is like approaching 16, right? And he's 20 years old. Like this guy's 20 years old. Like this isn't like a 25-year-old guy. Like he was just drafted a couple years ago, and he's there in Double A. But it's not just him, but DL Hall, your next best pitching prospect. He's been doing a good job. I've highlighted how he's played. Adley Rutschman, your best prospect, he's there in Double A. Michael Baumann, he's another good pitching prospect. He's on a rehab assignment in Double A, but he's going to go up to Triple A. Terrin Vavra is your 10th best prospect. He's playing second base there. I mean, and then you have like I mentioned, like Gunnar Henderson has played 18 games and he's at 30 RBIs. And this is a 19-year-old shortstop. You would say that's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
So like they have these guys coming up, and even some of their younger guys who are 19 or 20, they're showing they're advanced for A ball. So it wouldn't like these guys are going to go up the ladder really quick. And if we start seeing them dominate each level, like I've seen a lot of fans say, well, the Orioles aren't going to be good until 2025. Grayson Rodriguez, DL Hall, Adley Rutschman could all be up by next year. Like they're right now at Double A. Who knows? Maybe they skip Triple A. I doubt it. But if they continue what they're doing, then the ceiling's really high. And then once they find that window, I know all rebuilds have like that one moment. It's never gradual, right? It's never like 59 wins, 64 wins, 68 wins, 74 wins. It's like 68 wins, 78 wins, 88 wins, or something like that. And I think a lot of people are going to be really surprised in a couple of years because of all this talent that Michael Elias is bringing up. That I think is going to be really interesting there. But I mean, I'll say this with the Major League team. Like, did you see that play where the Pirates and the Cubs?
Yes, I sadly saw that. It's been a banner week for Pittsburgh sports.
Yeah, I mean, what was saying? Like,
it was a ground out, and then he throws it to first, stops running. Javier Baez baits him to go back, and then the runner scores. And all you needed to do was literally just step on first the entire time.
Yeah, there's a saying called "you felt over the banana in the tailpipe," or
yeah.
So they fell for. I mean that's why I'm pointing out.
It just like made no sense. Like, why would you like? And the Pirates are so stupid. You know, Bob Nutting's a schmuck, but you know that's a story for another day. But I mean, all you needed to do was step on first. Even if he was striding back, he has no choice but to go there, and then you still let a runner score, and then he's called it safe. It
And
really
he
has been
second.
not a banner week for Pittsburgh sports. It's a banner year between that, this ball being snapped over Ben Roethlisberger's head, and then Tristan Jarry giving the game away in Game 5, basically clear the puck right to another player's stick. It has been a banner year for Pittsburgh sports, and this one was just the latest in a long line of screw-ups.
Yeah, and I wanted to point out that Pittsburgh, like the Orioles are not a good team, but you can at least tell there's a plan. Like you know there's
Yeah,
a
there's not really a plan with the Pirates. There never really is.
like there isn't a plan with the Pirates, there isn't a plan with the Rockies. I mean the Orioles are probably going to end up with a top 3 pick. If they do, the top prospect in next year's draft is apparently this guy Elijah Green, he's a high school guy, but he's like apparently on a 20/80 scale. Two of his traits are rated at a 70. He's like compared to like Ronald Acuna Jr. I mean, that's one guy that I think he might be approaching the LeBron status. Like he might be approaching like that Bryce Harper status as a number
All
one.
right, yeah, don't go LeBron. Yeah, that's a little too far. But
Yeah,
Bryce
no,
Harper,
I mean, granted, we're still a year away from that draft. Like,
yeah, Acuna is very good, though. I will say that he's awesome.
yeah, I mean, yeah, granted, like 2018, it was like the Bobby Witt Jr. was considered the number 1 overall pick, and then by that point, it was actually Adley Rutschman, and then last year it's like, oh, it's Kumar Rocker or Jack Leiter from Vanderbilt. But I mean, I would be surprised if either one of those, especially Kumar Rocker, is who the Pirates take, and I feel bad for who the Pirates take on in July, especially for the high school shortstop. My goodness.
Yeah, hard. Yeah, it'll be bad. There wasn't really a lot of other. Yeah, I guess we can do OTAs.
Yeah.
Saw Pro Football Focus making a joke about Big Ben throwing a deep ball. I don't really, Pro Football Focus kind of sucks, but I mean, I don't really care. It's really just OTAs. I've read some good stuff about Najee Harris doing okay. So I think 75-80% of the team is reporting there. I don't get excited about OTAs, man. Just give me a couple months until training camp comes around, and then I'll be starting to get a little more excited. The only OTA thing that I really cared about that I saw this week is that Aaron Rodgers is partying it up in Hawaii with his fiance and then I think an actor and his wife.
Yeah, Miles Teller, I believe.
Yeah, I believe they're. So he's skipping OTAs. It's not a surprise. Was there anything that happened in the Ravens one? It just seemed quiet with the Steelers. There's not really much to report.
Yeah. First, in regards to the Aaron Rodgers thing, Ryan Clark had a great point because of like someone said that if you're talking about Aaron Rodgers in that picture, like with like picture, he's like, we should not use the phrase flexing his muscle.
Oh yeah, no, not really.
But with the Ravens, I mean Lamar's looking like Lamar. I mean Hollywood, like Lamar's pretty much said that they're still working on the contract. Hollywood's looking pretty good. I mean, we haven't seen. I mean, I think they had like 95% of the team is making it, 94, 95% is there, so that's pretty impressive. The big thing is that Bradley Bozeman looks like he's going to be the starting center because he was playing left guard before. He was a center at Alabama. There was some question of whether he was going to be the starting center. It looks like he is going to be the starting center. Now it's just who's going to be his left guard, whether it's Ben Powers or Ben Cleveland. Powers was a couple years ago. He was a 4th rounder. Cleveland was a 3rd rounder in this year's draft. So nothing really like too major. I mean,
yeah, OTAs really they don't even matter that much. I mean, if you want to get to the big Julio thing, I'll say this about that to start. What Shannon Sharp did was pretty shitty. I think that's goes against journalism ethics. You should tell someone if they are live on there. I mean, he probably maybe should have known because that's when they do their show. But I mean, maybe he doesn't know that. Like, I think what Shannon did was cross the line. Sure, people are going to think it's funny, and it was funny in a way. But you don't call someone on live TV, ask them questions like that, and say he goes, "Oh hell yeah, man, I'm out of there. Like I don't want to be there." It's like, has he? I don't even think he's gone on the record and said that to any media reporter. And then after that, finally Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport come out with their reports that like, yeah, he asked for a trade a few months ago. Falcons have been working on it. And it's like, where was this report a couple months ago then? I guess they were just waiting for him to go public with it, and then they were going to go public with their report. But I just didn't like how Shannon Sharp did it. And there was just some very shoddy journalism there. It's not how, we were taught, I don't think, back in college and shit.
But then we also have to keep in mind Shannon was he was an athlete, so he probably got the job mainly because.
Yeah, I know. It's just like, dude, you're on TV. You are a journalist in a way. I know you're an athlete, but right now you are kind of like a sports, multimedia journalist, I guess. You gotta know when and where to do that. That's just one of the reasons why I don't watch that show.
Yeah, no, I just don't like watching those shows because those takes just don't seem real, because it just seems like we just need to generate these clicks. But yeah, I think everyone knew Julio Jones was going to be there because it's either him or Grady Jarrett. They need to pay rookies, and their defense is bad enough as it is. Grady Jarrett's still a decent player, so why would you do that? I wouldn't be shocked. I wasn't shocked that he asked for a trade in March. We heard that. Remember the Aaron Rodgers thing? Adam Schefter, the timing of it was it wasn't like he was pissed at Aaron Rodgers was pissed at management on draft day. He was pissed before. They just got on draft day just for the clicks. So, that is definitely so I'm not shocked about that. I think that Julio Jones. I will say this. I think Julio may have known. Maybe they just hear he cares. They definitely know that Shannon Sharp does undisputed, but maybe he cares more. I think it's more about the
Did Julio know he was on the air?
Maybe he was given a heads. Maybe he was. I don't know if he was given a heads up. It seemed a little odd at first. I thought it seemed funny because of seeing Skip
that was a little funny. He's like, oh, he wants that, and then he's like, what about them Cowboys? And he's like, yeah. He goes, hell no, I'm not going there. It's like, oh, that was a bit funny. He did say he wants to win, so how many teams are in position to win? Decent amount. There's still, I don't know where he's gonna go. I think and one of the reports Adam Schefter said they want at least a first round pick for him.
That's not happening.
Good luck. How old is he? 32 years old, right? Is he 30?
He doesn't practice 3 days a week. He practices two days or 1 day.
Yeah, and he's still really good, but from here on out, it is going to be a slow decline. Good luck getting a first round pick. That's all I'll say.
And the cap hits 15, 11, and 11. So maybe you can reduce that 15, but it's still pretty affordable. But yeah, we can kind of go into that part of the discussion, like where you think where he would go. First of all, I just want to say that the Falcons don't have leverage. They don't. They basically, and I think they were more pissed at the situation than Julio. I think Julio's like, I'm out of here. I'm gonna get traded anyway. I'm gonna go.
Yeah, team. He's tired of losing. So it's his right if he wants to ask out, go to a winning team. But you're right; they don't really have any leverage. He kind of, almost in a way, he kind of may just pick where he wants to go. It's going to be a winning team. I think San Francisco makes a lot of sense if Kyle Shanahan obviously, could see somehow Bill Belichick pulling that off, since they don't really have any wide receivers right now anyway.
Aguilar and Kendrick Bourne are not number ones.
Yeah, I could see them going for him. I could see the Panthers doing it.
No.
Yeah, hey, get out of there. Oh, well, wait, no. They won't trade them to Carolina. I'm stupid. Honestly, they'll probably just trade them to an AFC team. Like I said, hopefully not the Ravens. I don't really need that to happen. But you would have to think it's probably out of conference. I think we touched on the Colts last week. They make sense.
Colts make sense. Titans make sense. Yeah. I will say it's like the first round pick. I think that was just like, teams will always lie. Like, oh, we have a first round pick interest. Maybe it's a conditional second that could turn into a first, but San Fran seems like a good possibility. But especially with Trey Lance potentially, I think Jimmy Garoppolo's done. Trey Lance is on a rookie contract, so it makes perfect sense. You could fit that contract in here, and then Deebo Samuel is what? He has 2 years left on his deal. Let me see who else. And then Brandon Ayuk has 4 years left on his. It all makes sense, but you still got to pay Bosa. You still got to pay your defense, and they're not edge rushers aren't cheap. So that's the issue there. I get Patriots. The only issue with Patriots is the Cam would be his biggest appeal to get there, but his job security is in question. That's the issue there. Maybe he wants to play with Mac Jones.
Yeah.
Titans. Here's the thing though about the Titans though that's interesting. Corey Davis, who he would replace, Julio Jones would replace Corey Davis. Corey Davis signed with the Jets for 3 years, around 36 mil. 3 years, 38. That's typically where how much the new team is going to pay Julio. And you have to give up picks, right?
Yeah.
You give up picks, and you got to restructure contracts. So why not go after Corey? If Julio Jones is going to play a certain role for your team at a certain price, I understand it's Julio Jones, but he's 32 years old, and you already had another receiver who's around the same size, same speed, a few years younger, and he was offered 3 years, 36, and you had an opportunity to match that offer, if not go a little bit more, and not have to give up picks. Why not go with Corey Davis? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, so I mean that's the only issue there. So Diana Rossini said it's a long shot for Tennessee. I don't know if they will do it. The Ravens, yeah, no, I think I know that Josina Anderson had tweeted out that the Ravens like their younger receivers that they have. But last time I checked, Eric DaCosta before the draft said, "I like our young guys pretty much." And what did he do during the draft? Take 2 receivers.
Yeah, these people they lie, man. That's what they do.
Yeah, and then when you think about, and then how many times have we seen contract talks go from they're far off from contract talks. 2 days later, contract's done. Oh, they're
Yeah,
far off from trade talks. 2 days later, trade's done. And then you mentioned Julio Jones, like for the Ravens, they typically go for receivers 30 years or older. Julio's 32. Contract's manageable. Where did Julio go to college? Alabama. Where did Ozzie Newsome go to college? Alabama.
All right,
So,
enough. No,
yeah.
I'm kidding. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, but you think about it though, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of the media, it's more of a media-driven thing, like him to the Ravens. But it is a good fit. And then apparently they tried to trade for him before the draft, and then apparently the Falcons did have some leverage at that point. But now, like, if they Miles, I would probably give up Miles Boykin a second and a fourth because the Ravens have they got 10 or 12 picks in this year's draft. Miles Boykin, they're not going to re-sign. Just go Miles second and a fourth. That should be the best, essentially, which is Miles Boykin, who's still 6'4", 440, still kind of like in baseball terms, like when you trade for a reclamation project because they might not fit their old team, but they might fit your new team. And he could probably play that same role with Matt Ryan or whoever they get next year. So I could see them pulling off this trade, and it wouldn't surprise me if they do it. It wouldn't surprise me if they don't. I think that.
Don't wish that devil on me.
Yeah, yeah, and then it's like, hey, I mean, you might have to see Julio, Hollywood, Mark Andrews, Rashad Bateman, Sammy Watkins, Tylan Wallace, with Lamar Dobbins, Gus Edwards, and by the way, at that defense and special.
That Steelers defense will have a huge task with all the talent that they have going up against that offense.
Yeah,
that's
and
for sure.
I think last week I brought up the benefit of getting a guy like Julio because I think that they have to put with Lamar. You got to put 8-9 guys in the box, right? You got to put 2 safeties up front to make sure he doesn't move. Well, if you put Julio on the outside and put Bateman on the other side, and Hollywood in the slot and Andrews, the problem is now they can beat you in multiple ways. Like they can turn what I call they can go from a 2-minute offense to a 7-minute offense and then back to a 2-minute offense. And you got to imagine if you have a couple of those 7-minute drives or 6-minute drives, and that reduces the amount of time you're on the field, which basically your defense, let's say the Steelers defense, a lot weaker. And so it really is it's going to be really interesting. I mean, I wouldn't be too upset if they didn't get him because Justin Houston's still available. Zach Ertz could be still available. And they have pretty much attacked this receiver position really well. So next week we will know where he's going. I think that'll probably be our lead story next week, where he went, whether they paid too much, whether the team that got him paid too much. But let's move on to the last two stories, and that is Virginia Tech athletics.
That was awesome. I don't watch a lot of softball. I'll be the first to admit that. That was awesome to watch last night. That team is a hell of a team to watch. Those ladies are great. I mean, that pitcher last night, I don't remember her name because that was like one of the first times I've tuned in. She pitched her ass off, and she made UCLA look like a bunch of bums. That was.
And UCLA won the championship last year.
Yeah, that's the number 2 team I think in the country right now, and I think if they win tonight, they beat them again. It's 2 out of 3. It's 2 out of 3, right?
Yeah. So if
they beat them again, they go to the College World Series, which is unreal. That's insane.
Yeah, and Tigers, and I think that it's definitely like our softball team is definitely an underrated. It might be one of those underrated teams out there. And then there's some. I'm checking if there's some.
And I'd love to see Tom Brady's. What was it? His niece or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate to see that. Just love beating up on a relative of Tom Brady.
I mean, I had no idea that she was Tom Brady's niece. I was like, oh,
me either. Yeah, it was weird.
And then the obvious and then the obvious connection there. But I mean, I'm trying to figure out who apparently some recruits are coming in next week. I don't know who they are. Maybe
I don't know. I think Gunnar Givens is visiting them soon. I think the running back that's in the top 10, I think, is also visiting.
Ramon Brown.
Yeah, he is too. I don't know why she's barking over there. Yeah, I think he's going to be visiting in June. Yeah, the dead period is lifted, I believe, next week, which is huge. It's going to be huge, I think, for recruiting. Not just for RET in the state, but just overall. It'll be nice, as we finally get back to normal a little bit. I saw also a few of the start times for the season for football got announced.
Oh yeah, West Virginia.
Yeah, noon game. That's awful. I hate that. North Carolina is 6:00 on Labor Day weekend, and then the other game against Middle Tennessee, I think, is 2 p.m. on the weekend of 9/11, and then the Boston College game, I think, in November is a 7:30 start, I think, at BC. So four of the 12 games, I think, have been announced.
Yeah, and then going, I'm just checking the crystal ball on the Gunnar Givens thing. Brian Doan puts that at Steve Wiltfong puts it at 2 Virginia Tech at a high at 7. Evan Watkins puts it at a 6. Sean Fitz, who, by the way, Sean Fitz is a Penn State insider, so he said Givens most likely is going to Tech. A Notre Dame insider saying the same thing. And so
they said it's between VT and Penn State for him. And I read Evan said last night that there's a lot of pro VT people in this corner that are pushing him to go there. So hopefully they can. They better. What'd you say?
Also, Alex Orji, the quarterback commit.
He's trying as well. Yeah, I mean, all I'm saying is they better get Gunnar Givens, man. I mean, he's 20 minutes outside the school, for God's sake. Come on. That should be a slam dunk any day of the week. I don't care how good or bad you are. I mean, that's too easy.
Yeah, I think he commits to Tech at first. Like I mentioned multiple times on this podcast. Let's wait until towards the end when they sign. I mean, I think that's all that matters. Yeah, that's all that matters there. I mean, but yeah, like Ramon Brown is visiting, Gunnar Givens visiting, and is a favorite. And that's what I always look for. I always look for who's giving the crystal ball and who's like with the higher scores. And if I start seeing like Steve Wiltfong, like Brian Doan, if they're saying they're going to Tech, I'll be confident about that. If other schools insiders, especially those that are competing with Tech for guys like Givens, I would say that. I mean, it's definitely looking good on that front. I mean, I think that we're going to get a couple more. I think we're going to get some good Virginia-based commits. Well, like I said, we'll see what happens later on, and then we'll just end the show, and then you can just talk a little bit about what's going on in the NHL playoffs.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously my team got eliminated this week. They got goalied, so one goalie played bad, the other one played good. That's basically your series there. The first round is just about over. One of the remaining ones, the game 7. If you want to tune into a game 7 for the first time, indeed, if you haven't done that before, there's one
I've
tonight.
done it. I've done it a few times.
There's one. Las Vegas plays tonight in Vegas. That atmosphere is electric. It's right on the strip. They play Minnesota, and then Toronto, Montreal. Game 6 is tomorrow. The second round starts this weekend with Boston versus New York. Of course, New York beat my team. Boston whooped the Capitals in this area. And then if there's another series you want to tune into, Carolina versus Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, the defending champions from last year, go up against a really good Hurricanes team. That's just a lot of fun to watch. But we will have the first round finished up probably by this weekend overall. But yeah, if you're looking to tune in for a game 7 for the first time, there's nothing like it, especially in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Tonight around 9 Eastern time, in Las Vegas. So that should be an awesome game.
Man, if the Rays were able to win the World Series, then we would have Tampa Bay Lightning, Tampa Bay Rays, and Tampa Bay Buccaneers all win their championship.
Yep. And Tampa Bay is looking to repeat again right now because they're in the second round. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, so I think that will conclude our show today. Thank you all for listening. Next week, we'll talk a little bit more about baseball if there's any headlines there. We'll definitely talk about where Julio Jones goes because I'm pretty sure he'll get traded by then. And then we'll see if there's anything in Virginia Tech related. And then I think Hunter, you can recap the NHL playoffs again if we don't have a lot of topics, but we'll see you next week.
Yeah, sounds good. We'll see you all next week.